Ultimatum. Him or my horses. My boyfriend, 28M, gave me, 31F, an ultimatum that is him or my horses. I have three. A senior old man, 21. A young mare, 6. And a young colt, 2. We've been together on and off for 3 years, he cheated. Then I took him back and we've been together the past 3 years. I have severe ADHD/high-functioning autism/depression, so I'm admittedly a bit slower to complete the average life timeline, I think. Or that's how he makes me feel. I'm old/too old/immature. We are not engaged despite him saying he wants to but can never afford a ring. Although I have a promise ring from a few years before that he could have asked me with and I'd have been happy with. Last thing is my parents pay for my horses right now and have almost my entire life that I've had them because it's also my mom's passion, which has been 22 years. Some background, I just graduated last August, 5 months, from a master's program, and it was rough. Boyfriend lived with me, and I took care of everything. I had to clean, do laundry, dishes, and cook on top of taking care of my dog, cat, and 2 horses, which turned into 1 when my older horse passed tragically, and his very aggressive dog, which became almost my entire responsibility on top of research, school stuff, a TA job to support us, which he still denies was real, writing a thesis and internship. I'll agree. I took on way more than I could chew, but I really wasn't supported by him whatsoever. He was in and out of jobs the entire 3 years, and one of those years he sat at home playing video games almost all day, or he was hunting deer or ducks. He recently annoyed he never was looking for jobs, even though he told me he was. At the time, it impacted our relationship tremendously. I didn't feel loved or appreciated, and was often ignored constantly. I struggled a lot financially, even with my parents' help for rent. I'm incredibly blessed. I blew all my savings, $13K, to help him or keep us afloat with cell phone bills, eating, paying for hotels for him to stay at and contract work jobs, or sending him money for food when he was gone. He rarely helped with groceries, never helped clean, sometimes did his own laundry, but many times I'd be up doing laundry at 2 a.m., so he'd have fresh, clean clothes to take if he was working a contract job, and he came home for the weekend because even though he did his laundry sometimes, he overfilled the drum and it would still smell dirty or take 3 cycles to dry. He rarely helped with the animals because they aren't his, except for the one dog, which is fair even though he was often home before me, or I was trying to make dinner for him, and he'd often leave messes for me to clean up. His computer desk was filled with trash and stuff all the time. I'd have to clean it, and I almost always took out the trash. I think I might have gotten him to take it out 4 to 5 times. Unfortunately, aside from video games, I fear he's been abusive. Often nitpicking how I do things. I always do everything the hard way. Will correct me constantly. If I bring something up or call him out on something, it'll end up with me being screamed at or it's somehow thrown back on me. And he never wants me to talk to my friends/family/anyone about struggles in our relationship. I cannot talk to other men or it's cheating, even if they've been strictly platonic friends for years. He usually berates me about my lack of maturity/being childish, for my interests/movie or TV show preferences/some of my actions, relying on my parents' help that I need to grow up, or being lazy. This is depression-related. All the while, he is horrible with money, is impulsive, makes reckless decisions, and prioritizes his wants/needs above all else. Constantly expected me to drop everything and anything I was doing to help him or do something for/with him, but rarely returned the favor if I needed help. Never helped with house chores. I had to beg him to help me with his aggressive dog, who quite literally ran after people/dogs/tried to attack people to the point I was always stressed about him being outside off-leash, so I had to walk him always while my dog was just fine. He also left his very aggressive dog for me to take care of all this time. Never paid for dog food or vet bills, left it up to me or my parents, and left me to deal with his dog's spiraling behavior. Last thing is he does not have a car. He drives my economic grocer-getter, and my parents have paid for the insurance on it for the past 6 months and prior I paid for it. So the last 2 years he's driven this car everywhere, and it's honestly been the most reliable vehicle he's had in the 6 years we've dated. He never paid for rent or was asked to pay rent at my parents in hopes he would save money or never needed/wanted for anything, which I think he resents me for. There's more to this, but to follow timeline, I'll include it later. Flash forward to the most present. We moved from Texas to Tennessee to live with my parents to save money. He has bounced around to 2 to 4 jobs, usually with about a month of off time between, since May when he moved up before I did. But he never really saved any money, claiming he couldn't, even when he was paid $40 an hour at a contract job. Therefore, we've basically spent more time away from one another than with each other. After I graduated in August, I think I developed severe burnout and my depression started to take hold. I've been helping my parents as much as possible, trying to ride/enjoy my horses since I had to basically take a 5 to 6 year break due to horse health issues/head school, and just get back to me after completely overburdening myself in grad school. My parents have wanted me to take it easy, knowing he didn't help me in grad school and I was extremely stressed. So I haven't really looked for a job and my studying for my licensing exam was out on hold. I will admit here that this is my fault for not doing it faster. But in the times he's been home, intimacy has been non-existent, and he has spent almost all his time gaming or hunting. If he does spend time with me, it's coming in to lay in bed and watch a show or movie he wants to watch. Before grad school, I used to go hunting with him, but I stopped due to lack of time, which upset him greatly. Now I just don't want to go because he doesn't spend time with me, give me attention, or just hang out with me, and my depression got so bad I just couldn't do anything. I was also pregnant in my first trimester and morning sickness was brutal. Additionally, he's never really supported me with the horses. I think I can remember one time he came to watch me ride. All the while I went hunting with him and put my hobbies on the back burner. In the past year, our intimacy has dwindled to almost nothing. In December, I found out I was pregnant, and I was terrified because no job/no health insurance/no money, and my mental health is not great, but I was excited. He was excited. His dad was excited, but my parents were shocked and a little worried, but happy. My mom tried to have a conversation with us about our plan for the baby, and he flat out refused, saying he didn't want to have a plan and refused to raise a kid the perfect way, aka my mom's way in his words. Which scared/freaked me out, because what do you mean you don't want to have a plan for a while, human baby? But honestly, I sat down to have the convo with my parents without him, and one of my parents' questions was how much we wanted them to be involved, which I think was respectful in the way that they will respect our parenting style and only be there if we asked for help, but maybe I'm wrong. I honestly don't know what's wrong or right anymore. If I'm capable of making such decisions properly anymore. About 3 weeks ago, he came home from his latest job to prepare for a new job he got in Texas, back home. I agreed I did want to move back to Texas, but I needed to get on my feet first, so I didn't really on my parents to pay to move me again, which he was initially fine with. Well, the entire week he was home, 3 big things happened. He played video games the first 5 days, then wanted to hang out the last day before he leaves, and he knew my dog was having her puppies that day. So my dog had her puppies, which he knew would happen that day. This was a planned breeding, by the way, not irresponsible. They are all well-accomplished/pampered dogs. He wanted to try leave so he could go hunting that weekend in Texas. So I basically call him out that he waited until he was leaving to hang out, and now I can't because my dog was having her puppies/had complications and needed an emergency C-section/spay. He got nasty with me when I stood up for myself, that I could have asked him to hang out or been affectionate to him, which I could have, but I've been told no before in the past. And then I was in the vet's office crying over him and my dog. He decided to stay longer. I had to stay with my dog to make sure she and the puppies were okay, so I didn't really get to even sleep in bed with him until the last 2 nights. 2 days after my dog had her puppies, I had a miscarriage at 12 weeks, which he again seemed okay with, like he doesn't have high emotional intelligence, but he kinda seemed to dismiss it. He just said it happens. A day after that, we went out to dinner, first date since September, because I wanted to do something just the 2 of us. And that's when he gave me the ultimatum. Him or the horses. I either move to Texas within 3 to 6 months and sell the horses, or stay here, Ava, we break up. I was shocked as I've been riding for 26 years and had horses for 21 years at this point. Like they've been here longer than he has. It's been my passion forever. And I've never been given an ultimatum before like that, and I've had 3 other boyfriends in my life. I just said I couldn't do that because they were my life and made me who I am. And he started in on me about never wanting better for myself. I'm gonna only rely on my parents, which I don't plan to at all. I want to get on my feet. That I need to grow up, and because my parents pay for the horses I need to sell them. Then 2 days after that, his dog attacked my mom's dog, for the fourth time. In the past fights, I was bitten once on my leg and once on my hand, which is still not right. This time, my dad was bit 3 times and he was bit 3 times. We made the decision to put his dog down. He was more upset about the dog than the baby. After that, there was a massive disconnect between us. No hugs, no kisses, and even though he laid with me those last 2 days, he barely spoke to me and never really looked at me, just played on his phone. I continually asked if I did something wrong or if he had anything on his mind. The lack of intimacy really upset me a lot. It felt like a massive rejection, like it's painful, physically painful. He ended up leaving, saying that he loved me and we'd get through this, but he won't wait forever for me. Since then, things have spiraled between us. He's been gloating and rubbing in my face how much better Texas is than where I am, which it is, and why I don't plan to stay here forever. But things have turned verbally abusive on his end. He has berating me for not being able to do simple tasks. What tasks he means, needing to grow up, hating that I have chosen the horses over him and our relationship, that I don't have a job and am not looking for one. I want to stay on my parents' tip my whole life. I apparently have depression that I do nothing about. I got upset with him over driving the car to go hunting when there was a break in insurance and was pulled over by a cop because it's my mom's fault we didn't instance faster, and he also called me up demanding I fix it immediately at 8 p.m. So that situation is all my fault and got him angry. It said it's all me. I'm the problem. The next day, I asked a clarifying question and he blew up on me for not doing simple tasks like washing his text messages, which was vague because he went from talking about a rodeo lineup to me looking for a job with no context. And everything he said has left me in tears every time. But biggest thing is that I chose the horses over him. He did admit to not finding me attractive anymore, essentially because I rejected him for sex too much in grad school. Outside of grad school, I've been happy to do it save once when I was pregnant, and it was hurting, which he called me a B word for, but in grad school I felt like his mother, and it was weird and I resented him for all I had to do, and he just sat there playing games. And he has lost feelings because I won't grow up and he feels like my dad? Which is odd because he's nothing like my dad, and interestingly, I felt like his mother while I was in grad school. He says he misses who I was before grad school, because I wasn't like this. I think he says that because I prioritized him over everything, and I just stopped doing everything he asked me to, and do everything he wanted of me, which meant my horses fell to the wayside. He even forbade me from riding my horses and accused me of trying to hurt or baby in my first trimester by riding my safest horse at a walk. I know what Google says, but I've ridden for 26 years, and I think that applies to people who don't know how to ride and go bouncing around all crazy. But I stopped riding because he told me he'd never forgive me if I lost our baby for being so selfish. So cue not depression. He's spoken to his dad and his dad's GF about this, and because dad's GF had an experience with her sister choosing horses over everything, inviting her kids, I will be just like her, which I know I wouldn't whatsoever. But he got mad when I was talking to my sister about this, and my parents know something is wrong because I've been crying for 4 days straight. He also called me a narcissist. Even though I literally went to school to be a therapist, and everyone I've asked that one question to has agreed I am not a narcissist. 1 minute he's fine in a text, texting me like nothing happened, then getting mad at me, we've just being vicious. It's like Jekyll and Hyde. He even admitted he knew it was hurting me what he was doing. Then later said he acted that way being he's stressed at the new job and doesn't think I'm gonna move down there. And all the while he's being me and always ends with I don't want to break up. Or if I suggest it, he says don't say stupid shit or I've been considering it. But seems to say he doesn't want to after I even push for it for real. So I've also asked how to fix the relationship. Essentially, I must have sex with him and be with him in person, which I can't do from here in Tennessee. I either stay in Tennessee where I can save money and have my horses, more affordable here than in Texas right now, or I move with him and sell my horses. After his behavior recently, my parents do not want to pay for anything involving him, but also don't feel they can afford board on 3 horses in Texas until I get on my feet. He says they're just horses, and I can replace them later, but he also doesn't understand how long it took me to have horses of this caliber or even find them. Heck, one has to be specifically bred for, and he's the last of his line. I have my old man, who will never go anywhere, he's here for life. But my 2 younger ones are so high caliber and value. I've had the youngest since he was 10 says old, and at his first national show, He won reserve national champ out of 22 other young horses. I've never had a horse I could go to this kind of nationals with. It's been a dream come true. He's truly a dream come true. My mare is healing things in me I didn't know I needed healing. She reminds me of my first horse, whom I lost in the first 3 months of him and I dating, and is really healing my lack of confidence that other horses gave me in the past. These animals are my life. They are who I am. Without them, I know life would go on, but I wouldn't be the same. He doesn't seem to care to understand that. It's just that because I can't afford the horses, I need to get rid of them. Which I know he's right. I can't afford them, but my dad said it's really not up to him. It's up to my dad to decide. Besides, what he doesn't realize is that the money the horses sell for I must return to my father because they're on loan. Even if my youngest sold for 5 figures, a lot would go back to my dad. Same with my mare. Before you'll say maybe it's because I don't choose him or prioritize our relationship, I ride 2 to 3 days a week, but when he's here I don't ride at all to spend time with him, which never happens because he plays video games. And I've gone to visit as much as I could afford to, and with leaving my parents to care for and deal with his extremely aggressive dog. In every aspect of our relationship until now I've basically prioritized it and him. I've lost friends because of it. I didn't do as well in grad school because of the issues with us at times. If he needed me I was there, even if I had a test the next day. I poured everything I have into this relationship. I don't wave just give up, but I don't think it's healthy anymore. I have started to do the things he says I should do to fix it. I've also taken steps to find a job, and it's not much but it's something until I pass my licensing exam. But now that's not enough for him because it doesn't pay well and I should have just gotten a job in Texas and slept on his dad's couch with him until he can get an apartment in 2 to 3 months. I've gotten back on my antidepressants and ADD medications so I can function better. But that's not enough maybe it's too little too late. I'm trying to better myself and get into the gym. I've started on walks to feel pretty again and be more attractive. I haven't gotten a compliment from his man in months, maybe over a year. Always gets mad that it takes me too long to get ready, or I take too long picking out clothes because I have to keep in mind what he deems appropriate. I've started researching different study materials for the licensing exam, so I'm definitely trying. I've looked at all the options to fix this and what to do because nothing is good enough. I know he has valid points. He's frustrated with me for not having my shit together, and frankly I'm frustrated with myself. I love this man more than I've loved anyone else. He says he loves me too, but I don't think it's in the same way. Maybe it's because I haven't put out enough, or because I can't take a mean or at my expense joke as often, or because I'm not doing the things he wants to do when he wants to do it. I've defended his behavior, decisions, and everything he does for years, even though I'm always the one cleaning up the mess, usually financially or physically cleaning it up. My friends and family who I've spoke with in confidence have warned me not to sell the horses. That I deserve better. I shouldn't be spoken to like this. That it's abuse. But I can't help but think he's right, and maybe I am being childish or immature. Like, should I be selling my horses? Even though they're quite literally the only reason I'm on this plane of existence still? I kind of feel like I supported him through his lowest points, and he's leaving me at my lowest. No emotional support after the loss of our child. Shut me out after putting the dog down. Rejected me when I tried to initiate anything or gave off don't touch me vibes. Like, maybe I should have tried harder? I just don't know if I'm horribly wrong here or right. I overthink everything because I'm so afraid of doing the wrong thing. All my friends are married with kids, but have stopped saying/asking if we're next. I don't ask for a lot, because I'm afraid of being disappointed again. But I can't even get signs he loves me, but maybe he doesn't, and even he hasn't figured that out. I just don't know. I try really hard to understand everyone's perspective and at least stand in their shoes. Maybe I'm making excuses. If you're still reading this, thank you for doing so, and I'm sorry it's all over the place. I'm mentally exhausted and tired from crying, but I need to know if I'm wrong for this. So do I move back down there for a guy who has essentially ignored me for video games until he decides he wants to give me attention/go hunting/hasn't kept a steady job for more than 4 to 5 months at a time, who tells me to sell my horses? He knows they are worth a lot, especially the youngest, and said that the money could help us start our life, even though most of whatever he's sold for will go back to my parents. Or I stay where I'm at to save money, have my horses, and get on my feet so I can eventually move to TX without my parents' financial assistance and lose my relationship? Am I being immature? Would I make a horrible wrong decision in keeping my horses? Do I need to grow up and just sell my horses for him?